This week we what? I'm sorry, just a second here. I told you can't get away. Oh, God. Yeah, these protesters just hang. I don't know. They had this sign. I don't know. I guess we'll just get to it.
Welcome to the Chuck&DavePod.
I'm Chuck.
I'm Dave.
Here's the pod.
Sorry, give me a little.
That was an awesome opening there. Got to shout out the producer Dave.
That was fun.
Yeah, there's been people hounding me ever since this morning. A lot of I don't know
about the pigskins.
The pigskin prognosticators. They really.
Well, I did have to kind of like part a sea of like mob of. In fact, it's not just a sea. Angry mob of people outside my house. Bullying me and throwing stuff at me. It was pretty rough.
I will tell you, I told them to go home and just relax and wait for a better time to fight. But I mean, once the mob gets going,
what is it? Stay calm, stay set. I don't know.
What he said, stay home, but stay alert or stay ready.
Yes.
Or something.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, the ragtime thing, the silent movie, I love that. We got lots of people. Everybody wants to check in today. And yes, we did throw it back to the days of my computer.
Yep. Got it all. It was all fun. I was actually going to do an intro that was more of like 80s, like what you saw in the like waiting period, but then couldn't get it really to work out. Would have loved to do like, if I had more time, like some sort of like Full House style where you and I are tumbling down a hill and hugging each other, but couldn't get the time to get that film.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna have another throwback next year, so we got the off season. We need to get together we need to get together and film some scenes. That'd be terrific. We still need to get before playoffs. We need to get a video of everybody doing.
Yes,
that's UW Stevens Point.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Pin those together. So I guess you and Kara don't maybe need to worry about that, but everybody else should.
Yeah,
should get on that.
Yeah.
So yes, we did have a lot happening this week. It was a big week 10 in the games, and then there was a big week 10 in between the games this week as well. It looks like we're still going to start with the review before we dig into some of that stuff that went.
Yeah. I think so. So, I mean, we can talk. Well, yeah, let's talk about the week. And we can talk about the breaking news. So
we got plenty of breaking news. It's really a good thing that suddenly this year, the Make Fantasy Football Great Again League was able to hire the services of the Ian Rappaport to help parse through some of these things that have been happening. It's I'm sure it was no small portion of the budget.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm pretty sure I kind of cheaped out and went with Trevor Rappaport.
Oh,
that's his cousin.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, name recognition, all that stuff. Like, Trevor's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's doing me a solid.
I'm sure he is.
So
I'm sure Trevor Rappaport is a great guy. I'm sure he is. He doesn't need to hide behind Ian. He can be himself.
Yeah.
I think the family tree is vast.
It's
The Rappaport. It's a Rappaport nation, really.
Yep.
When they get out there.
Well,
where do you want to start?
I mean, I guess in my notes, I put the wheels have absolutely fallen off the IFD Punishers. Somebody added, or are they being purposely removed? But yeah, the 1 week I have a above 100 projection, and the first two players that I had play were putting up, I think it was two players. I had 22 points or something, averaging 11 points. So you're thinking to yourself, I'm thinking to myself, this might be the year, this might be the week that I actually do it. Sam still, even with the full roster, was only projected at like 85 points.
Yeah, Sam did not have a very good outlook, and he topped 100, but he didn't have a great week. If it wouldn't have been for Evans and Montgomery and his kicker, for some reason, his 32nd ranked kicker decided to just go ham on it. He's probably moved up to like 30th now overall in the kicker rankings.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was not much out of Sam here. And that's been a trend with Sam's wins lately. He's not scoring big. He's just getting lucky in a lot of situations here.
Yeah. I mean, Eckler did what he was supposed to do, got me my 20. Olave finally went off, got 17 points. Stevenson even was usable.
I mean, the top half of your team, if you ignore Jackson and Moore, did their jobs. And even your defense, 6 for the defense is acceptable. Hill decided to go back to his ways.
Yeah.
Myers just doesn't seem to be the favored guy. He was definitely a favorite target of Garoppolo, but he does not seem to be carrying that over to O'Connell.
No, he is basically non-existent anymore. So I think
it happens a lot when you see quarterback changes. It'll be interesting because now I see Deshaun Watson is out for the year. That'll change any of Browns receivers. Some other things we changing too. The Vikings are going to be getting Jefferson back. That'll reduce Madison's value probably some. So obviously Cooper Kupp and Nakua have been hurt a lot by not having Stafford. Jordan is making me listen to this, and I have yet to hear a discussion of Taylor Swift. Isn't that the only reason anyone watches football? I have news on Taylor Swift. Apparently, Kelsey was down in Brazil at her revamp of her Eras tour, and they were seen kissing.
Ooh. Yay. Kara will, I'm sure, love that.
So that has me a little worried personally about Kelsey coming out of the bye, knowing he's been hanging out in Brazil kissing women. I want the focus to be on the Polecats, not on the Swifts.
Yeah.
But welcome to the show, Lauren. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Lauren, by the way, to anybody else out there, does have stats in our record book because she played 1 year in the NFL.com league when we were.
Well, no, it was ESPN.
Did she play during ESPN too? Because I have records of her from the NFL. Of ESPN.
So then she must have been for 2 because there is a team called Scott's Tots that made it to an ESPN. I have a couple of ESPN power rankings back when ESPN used to do power rankings, and Scott's Tots was on the top for quite a bit.
Really? Well, she didn't do as well the next year. It looks like she went 5-8. 1-1 in the postseason that year, so that may be why she retired after that one. Yes, where was everyone last week? Last week was a terrific show with Alex.
Phenomenal show, even without not a single guest or not a single
even
person
without
in the discussion. Not even a
visual.
Not even a porn bot.
I mean, it's possible that people signed in, saw that Chuck wasn't on, and immediately like, no, I don't need that.
Yeah, I don't. If Chuck's not here, I'm not here to watch the Dave pod.
I apologize for that. So, the Punishers are not looking great. You now have tied the record at 7 games in a row of under 100. Honestly, I bet a little bit if you kind of wants to break that. Get that 8th.
I want
fair, of course. You got to get it fair.
I mean, a ticket to immortality, Yeah, I'm going fair.
What do I got here? The Nincompoops.
Dave and Alex pod. Heck yeah.
They've only beaten a team over 115 points twice this year. That shows a little bit of them. But they did move into 3rd in the playoffs right now.
That's crazy. That's just crazy.
6-4. I said he is just so quietly moving up the rankings. Like nobody's really talking about the Nincompoops, and they just keep knocking people off. I think he's won 6 out of 7.
It's insane.
He's won 6 out of his last 7, and it's like he's not doing anything. He just wins.
Yeah, I mean,
I would not want to play him right now. I didn't want to play him. I lost him.
The guy legitimately makes sure that he has a full roster. Doesn't even talk to anybody. I mean, he's become the new Rich, except he's way better.
He is better than Rich. I did talk to Sam yesterday, and he assured me that he would hop on and change to a throwback name today. So we see how well that worked out for him. I initially reached out because he popped on the Discord, actually.
Yes, it was very
solitary comment. So I sent him a text saying, I said, classic ghost move. And he said, oh, you like that?
Somehow got offended by us leaving him out of the equation of winning this past week.
He just checked in to see if he was getting the recognition.
Yeah,
so Sam,
we're
talking about your team in 3rd place. There's your recognition. I'm sure you're watching this.
Yeah.
I do have to say he put in the wrong defense this week. He left a big 49ers defense on the bench. I mean, I can't blame him for not having Geno Smith in over Allen, but the 49ers defense. You, on the other hand, you finally bench Wilson, and he decides to actually score some points.
Yeah. A little frustrating. Throw him in instead of Jacoby Myers, and I have a closer chance of it's a little bit more of an interesting game.
Mm-hmm.
Dalton Schultz instead of not Tyreek Hill, Taysom Hill, and we're having a different conversation.
Yeah, I think honestly, not having Butker really hurt you this week. He's been a star. He's been a stud.
He has.
For you. He's good.
He would have scored me an additional 10 points.
He certainly would have beaten what you got there.
So, yeah, that's the fun.
Yeah, not a whole lot going on there. Where would you like to go next?
We got the Miami Fire Ants. So just so you know, we're going to be using your throwback names or whatever names are posted just so that keeps us on track, and then so everybody else knows who we're talking about. The Miami Fire Ants cream the Kentucky Creamers.
The Kentucky Creamers. Yeah, 132-88. So when these two teams met in week 3, it was a tight matchup of like 149 to 147. Not a repeat this time from the Creamers. Only 88 points for them.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence, really rough. He left some points on the board or on the bench.
A lot of points. For sure.
Although to be fair, who thinks that maybe that you
we got excuse me, you can't be in here right now.
I want pigskin. Give me pigskin.
What is this? Pigskin. And we've got more signs. We already showed them that sign. We got free PP.
Free the PP.
We've got pigskin prognosticators forever.
The people know what they want.
Wow.
Look at that. Just storming Chuck's house.
Storming on in. I can't even. It's not safe here.
Waking up the baby.
It's not safe here. Sorry, they interrupted. What were you saying there about?
How much did you pay her to do that? Oh, Josh read my mind. How much are you paying her? No, I mean, really, like you could have said, well, maybe he could have put Rashad White instead of Aaron Jones, but it's like, how do you make that call?
How do you
put Debo in instead of any of the people he had? Like,
one of the problems with this team, and maybe it will get clarified by the news. All the running backs could just as easily go off for 18 points in any week, but you don't know which one's going to. And so you get stuck in that, like who's on the bench, who's out. We've talked about this with Alex's team before. We thought that his team was going to be like 50-50 half the time his points are on the bench, but that's not happened clearly in a while for him. But it's been happening to the creamers here quite a bit lately. A lot of points on the bench, a lot of unluckiness on the active field. Meanwhile, the Fire Ants bounce back.
Match upset. How do you make that call? Match upset Dave's matchups. Match upset Dave. I think what he's saying is how I make that call is via matchups. I'm just saying, like, Aaron Jones matchup Rashad White.
I've been burned plenty by matchups, man.
Dude, he had Rashad White had the 19th, was going against 19th. Aaron Jones was going against the 8. Aaron Jones had the better matchup and scored less points. Matchups, Petrulis, matchups. Tell me how Tell me how the matchups actually help him.
I passed on Dobbs and Howell and Purdy because matchups were really, really unfavorable, and they all had terrific weeks. So
matchups are not. It's not a science.
Matchups are not the whole story. But the Fire Ants here, after a 69 last week, 132 this week, they've really been all over the place. You don't know what team you're going to get when you play them.
This was the team that didn't have his like superstars. So he was missing Cup, missing Waddle, missing Mostert.
Yeah, he was hit by the buys.
He was Goddard. And yet everybody decided to play.
I mean, his last 4 weeks are 87, 107, 69, 132.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty inconsistent there. Makes it hard to go, but I'm sure he's happy with the week that he had. Here, the Creamers fell to 6th outside of the playoffs for now. I think I must have glitched here for a second.
No, you're fine.
Oh, okay. Meanwhile, the Fire Ants moved up to 5th and into the playoffs. Or no, 6th is in the playoffs. My gosh, sorry. They didn't fall out of the playoffs. 6th and 5th. What was I going to say? That's pretty much what I have for them. They're both pretty much boom or bust teams.
Yeah.
Right now.
I mean, to be fair, Jordan's about to get some help. Jordan's about to get to. It's going to make his team a little bit easier.
Maybe.
We'll
see when we get to that.
Guaranteed 15 points. You can take Aaron Jones out of the lineup.
We'll see. I've done some math, so we'll see. Where to next?
All right. We got the Fighting Fergals buckle under the pressure of playing the number 1. So this was going to be what I thought was going to be the upset of the week. I thought Kara had the best shot of taking down a somewhat depleted hurricane force winds. And Alex, I either got to tip my hat to you or I got to tell you you're the luckiest man alive. I mean, you're not obviously like a matchup, like sitting there like hunting matchups, but you're either a savant or you are super lucky. I am going to lean towards the side of super lucky because ETN, the guy who you leaned on all year so far, got you 5 and earned 6 points. And the 2 people you picked up off of waiver wires right before the games managed to score you 32 points combined.
Yeah, he got, having Prescott and Lamb going against the Giants was just a little playground time for them. I think he got a little lucky with Foreman doing as well as he did, and obviously Indianapolis just spanking the Patriots over there. Basically, almost all of his points came from 4 players.
Yeah, I mean, he had, if his other teammate, he could have broken some records if his other
if
team
he would have had an effective
normal.
Yeah, if he would have had some effective players in the other spots, we are talking at least high score of the year right now.
Yeah.
If not, maybe getting close to the record, which would be very sad. I'd like to hold it for at least a full year.
I mean, yeah,
197 is hard to get to. We have not topped 160 by anybody yet this year.
Mm-hmm.
But we may. Yeah, it's just, the Hurricanes with this win continue to hold on to the number 1 seed. They clinched the playoff position officially with that win. They extend their tiebreaker lead by continuing to just score and score. They're still not 100 points over the my fantasy team, but they are extended over that. They're looking to clinch a bye now is going to be their next goal here. They're going to try to they took the season record for the most consecutive wins at 6, and they've averaged 143 points over the last 3 weeks. There's just really, you can't understate these Hurricane Force wins right now, which is something I never thought I'd be saying.
Yeah, that is a something you would never hear me ever say is the Hurricane Force wins are winning.
They belong in 5th place, and that's just, but because we've extended the playoffs to 6th, if he gets the bye, he can't finish 5th. So
yeah, it's a shame.
We need to make sure that this happens some way. The Fergals, I don't know. There's just not much you can do. They had those 3-week stretch where they did it.
Yeah, I believed. I think like their team has potential. It's just
every week with potential. But like, how do you explain Stephon Diggs getting a 4, Breece Hall getting an 8? Like, this is just things that shouldn't be happening to them. Those 2 players add up to their potential, and she's not winning this one, but she's up to like 115 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it would be very disheartening. The Hurricanes swept the Fergals this year. Since 2016, Kara has only had 1 losing regular season, and that was 2019. And she will now officially have a losing season this year for the second time. She has had 3 losing seasons if you add in the playoffs, or the postseason, but she has only had 1 this week. Yes, he did say Diggs would be a weak link.
I mean, but like, the thing is with Stephon Diggs, Alex, I get that you're a matchup hound, but like,
who do you bench him for?
The problem is, who do you bench him for?
You throw in Brown?
Marquise Brown? Like, he's trash. I mean, like, the thing is,
she put in the more effective one.
The Stephon Diggs and the Devontae Adams and these like superstar receivers, these DJ Moores, all these guys, it's the most frustrating thing this year because the top wide receivers aren't living up to their potential, they're too good for us to bench them because you're just like sitting here going like, but next week they're going to go off. As soon as I throw them on the bench, they're going to score 25 points. And so it's like you take Stephon Diggs.
I'm sure the Raiders would love to have Devontae Adams.
I mean, the Bills are going to struggle against Denver, though. Had one of the worst defenses in the league.
Yeah, I don't know that you would have been able to say that Diggs was such a liability that she needed to go trade him out for somebody.
No,
but
like he can be a weak point.
And obviously, I think pundits seem to agree in the aftermath of that game that Diggs was underutilized and a bad plan put in place for him. I don't think it was because Denver shut him down. They fired their offensive coordinator the day after. Obviously, he was not in the game plan enough.
Yeah.
Which I don't ever know how these very, very smart head coaches and leaders just don't get their best player the ball sometimes.
You can't say anything about the Chiefs, Alex. The Chiefs' offense has obviously struggled all year round. We don't know.
And they had the flu when they played
We don't
Denver.
necessarily know why they've struggled, but that offense has not been able to produce like it has. Like, I think
that week, Mahomes had the flu. Kelsey honestly just wanted to be done so he could go make out with his boo. You put those two together.
It's true. It's 100% true. So, I mean, I think you're giving Denver a little too much credit in the fact that like they pounded the Chiefs. I mean, they didn't really pound them. They beat them by, I think, a touchdown.
They also gave up 70 points to Miami. So,
yeah, they gave the most points. I mean, Mahomes has had a bad game all year round.
He's only had
like, he's only had a couple of good games. Talk to Kara about that. He's averaging like.
The Chiefs are a good enough team in real life that they keep winning for the most part. But this week against the Eagles is going to be a big game, I think. Chiefs-Eagles. That's
I think
possible Super Bowl preview.
Struggle. I don't know. I don't see. I mean, the Chiefs are going to probably be very similar to the Patriots where they can struggle all year, but then turn it on in the playoffs and just like smoke everybody. But we'll see.
We'll see. Well, that leaves us with the closest matchup, the one that actually came down to Monday night. I didn't have a whole lot of faith in my fantasy team pulling off the win against the Bulldogs. I thought having to top the kicker by 6 with the tight end, but I was hopeful. Originally, I had Ferguson in as my tight end. He actually ended up scoring basically the same amount as Kincaid, but was able to do it. Tyler Bass had the Bills struggled. So Tyler Bass had I better switch my plug-in here. I forgot my computer. Hold on just a second here.
We'd hate for that to go out.
That would be another 20 minutes of waiting around here. There we go. All right, we are good. Sorry about that. That's throwback. The battery doesn't hold life.
Oh yeah,
like it should.
We all know that.
So the Polecats pull off the win, 121-116, and sweep the Bulldogs for the second straight year.
Yeah.
They stay on the heels with the second seed. The Bulldogs drop to 4th. I think I did a lot of soul searching on who to put in for quarterback, and I decided to go for Murray. Now, he did not go off against Atlanta, but he did a serviceable job, put up 17 points, topped his projection. He didn't quite top what Purdy and Dobbs did. I don't know. I think you need to go with Dobbs for quarterback over Jackson.
Me?
No, yeah, you. Why not? He's doing not. He's got one game over 20.
Oh, I know. I definitely don't disagree with you.
We'll talk about that in the looking for it. I don't know. For some reason, I haven't been able to trust Brian Robinson this year. I've had him. I dropped him after like week 2, and then I picked him back up, and I just keep feeling like he's up and down. But all of a sudden, I realized he's actually the 5th ranked running back.
That's crazy.
And I just keep him on the bench almost every week because for some reason
I do find it curious that my dad had Jahmyr Gibbs bench.
I thought that was a very odd move. I don't know if he just forgot to put him back in after the bye.
I think it must have been a forgot because, like, man,
there's no way that he was thinking that Hill be better than Gibbs.
Yeah, no. I think my dad also tends to get a little bit he doesn't like the NFC North very much, so Viking players he truly does believe that the Lions are a bad team that are just getting lucky. Like I really do think he thinks that. So
he's okay using
yeah, I mean, he's fine doing Hawkinson, but I mean, he's fine playing those players. But in the end, I think he thinks like, oh, Jahmyr Gibbs isn't going to do much.
I mean, I think that was some poor thinking.
But I think honestly, most likely he just forgot. He just
lucky for me. Although hopefully I would have put Robinson in then. So we'll see. Maybe I'll learn to trust him. I think Todd is missing Butker right now. Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to use it this week, but I think Bass really started to nosedive around the time of that trade. I think he felt confident knowing he had a backup, and now knowing that he's just all alone and the weight is on his shoulders. It's a lot.
That is true. He did kind of dip as soon as that trade kind of went through.
Yeah. So he did get some use out of Lockett though this week, didn't he? 18 points, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that worked out for him. So the Polecats just continue their stretch of extreme consistency. Here they have now gone, I think, since week 4, not scoring under 116, but not scoring over 128. You don't want to rock.
Shooting the arrow right in the middle.
You don't want to rock the boat. We're going to wait and see what our opponent brings to us. If you can score 130, you can have the win. If you can't top 120.
I mean, honestly, Jahmyr Gibbs is in instead of Hill. He's got you beat.
But if I would have had Robinson in then instead of, I mean, I probably would never have replaced Henry with him. Henry had a terrible game. But Metcalf, I probably could have replaced with Robinson and then back in action. I thought Seattle was going to do a lot better against Washington, but oh well. Is what it is. So that was week 10. Only 4 weeks of the regular season remain in the 2023 campaign. We are getting down there. We got a lot of stuff going on. I'm due for a low or high scoring game. I don't know. Are you? As Todd would say, you're not
owed anything statistically.
I would love to. I would love to finally get a game over 130. I don't know if have you ever topped 130 yet this year?
No, 120 something.
126 was your highest.
Yeah.
Kara got to 140.
Jeez, Lou. What are you paying your wife to just jump on here?
Hey, welcome to the show. This has got to be the most views we've ever had, I got to say. I love it. Lauren and Andrea can talk.
Star Wars was the highest. Star Wars week will probably be the highest.
Okay.
We had a bunch of people popping in. Like at one point there were 8 people watching. So I'm assuming people were just watching because the stream notified people that I was playing Star Wars music. So
that's interesting. Free the PP.
I love Free the PP.
I love it. I don't even remember what I was saying there. Oh, so me and you are actually the only 2 teams that have not topped 130 yet this year.
Wow.
How does that feel?
I'm in good company. That makes me feel better.
It does. Yeah. So we'll see. All right. So a lot of stuff went down this week. I honestly dabbled with maybe even bringing the commissioner on for a few minutes and getting his thoughts on this, but he is with us, so he can give us his thoughts as we go. So which big thing would you like to go over first?
I mean, I think the biggest news is the trade. We were alerted a few days ago of an impending trade. I put my team on the meat market, as it were to say, like to basically just like
it was a literal fire sale here.
I had a fire sale, so anybody who wanted to take any of my players, I was willing to take. I realized, so I looked up around, I think Monday or Tuesday. So it would have been Monday. I was looking and I saw that the trade deadline was the 18th right here. And I was like, holy crud. If I want to get any trade capital and make this whole thing I've been talking about all year is like been telling Kara to do this, is sell her team so she can get a bunch of number 1s or a bunch of number 2s.
But she doesn't trade.
She doesn't trade. She will not trade. So I decided, hey, if anybody wants Eckler, I'd love to get like 2 number 2s next year, 2 number 3s. You and I had some talks, but it seemed like we weren't gonna. we weren't probably gonna make it. Alex was asking for some really stupid stuff, like who would want Fields? I'm sorry, Alex. Who wants Justin Fields?
The problem was that you were only going. You're done with the year, so you were not considering any players. Now I was not willing, and I think Alex is in the same boat, to give up draft capital of such a high priority for next year. I don't think Eckler is going to be the difference between me winning the championship and not winning the championship. So giving up on a pick for next year would be tricky. I don't know. I think third round, maybe not that bad. I took Najee Harris this year in the third round, and that was not good at all, as it turned out. But yeah, I agree that draft picks are more valuable in fantasy because you don't cultivate the players. If you were in a dynasty league, they would be a little less valuable because you're only picking up scraps and rookies in the coming year. But I don't know, the idea of giving up a big one like that for me, and I think honestly that I think you missed a little bit on that trade. I think you could have had a chance of getting a second round.
I mean, it's basically it's a 3.5. It's a 2.5. I mean, if Jordan wins, I'm not saying he's going to, but he has potential. Do I think it's likely? No, and that's probably why he agreed to a conditional first round pick if he wins it all.
Very similar to what the Rams did. They went all in, got rid of tons of draft picks, got their championship, and have now been in purgatory since.
But like I was trying to sell people on, you're talking about like, again, since not a dynasty league, you're not going to be mortgaging too much of a future. Yeah, you can mortgage a year, but you're not going to be mortgaging too much. Like,
this is the most trades we've had. We've had 2 trades. So I believe
2 trades.
I think,
and just so you're aware, over the last 2 years, we've had 3 trades, and I've been a part of every single one of them.
Dave is the trader.
I am the trader. Chuck and I made a trade last year, and then it was and just so you're aware, some rumblings, not 100% sure, some rumblings that Todd may be interested in trading with me. Just we had a brief phone conversation. You know, he called me, he called my people, asked who was available, asked what I was asking for. He said he'd mull it over and get back to me. So in the next couple of days, we might see another trade. Who knows?
I have been talking. I have been talking with Josh. I did send you a counter offer, Josh. I don't know if you didn't see it, but I did send you a counter offer on that. We're talking a little bit there. See if I can do something to. What's that?
So what's the trades?
Well, I don't know if I want to get into these details when things aren't ironed out entirely. But, I have a position that he's in need of, and he has some potential players that could be a little more consistent for me.
Okay.
I really only have like one piece that could probably be tradable for someone else, but we'll see. We'll see if it goes anywhere. I just want to kind of run down third round value. So here are the players that were picked in the third round this year. You had Josh Jacobs, Joe Mixon, Chris Olave, ETN, Devonta Smith, and he's probably turned into a bigger than a third round value. Possibly ETN too.
So's ETN.
Yeah. T. Higgins, Cooper Kupp, and Najee Harris. So I would say
Cooper Kupp should have been higher value, but
was that the keeper? That wasn't the keeper, was it?
No, that wasn't. Somebody might have kept Cooper.
So that one of those players would have gotten to not go to. And Jordan's third round pick this year was Joe Mixon. So
that seems decent, but he has struggled.
If you ended up with the first round pick and you picked first, and then you picked 9th, and then you picked what would it be, 17th? And like 20th, 25th, something like that. That'd be pretty good value there. 14 points in the last 2 weeks pending. I can't. Whoa, a lot going on right here. Pending his stat. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I saw 15 points in the last 4 weeks.
Oh, you going for Raheem Mostert, I see, huh?
Who's got 15 points in the last 4 weeks?
His number 3, Cooper Kupp.
Oh, okay. Math is hard for me. Whoa. The protesters are turning on me, it appears.
So, yeah, anyway, we had the trade. That should finalize tomorrow morning, probably tonight at midnight.
I have one more thing to say about the trade here.
Sure.
Hopefully Jordan's watching. I decided to say, what if Jordan had Eckler the past 3 weeks? Still want the pigskin life. Hashtag. So if we go back to week 8, Jordan, and I just, I don't know who he would have benched for Eckler. So I just took whoever his lowest running back was and replaced him with Eckler because we're going to say that he picked the right guy each time. So in week 8, he lost by, If he would have gotten Eckler, he still would have lost by 14 points.
Okay.
So he would not have fixed that game. In week 9, he ended up winning. He would have won by 3 points more if he had Eckler. That's the only difference. He would have lost by 10 points less in week 8. And in week 10, he would have gained, what was it? 10 points.
10 points.
He still would have lost by 33. So far, Eckler would have made no difference in his record. So we'll see.
Sure.
We'll see. I'm not saying Eckler is more consistent than any one of his individual guys, but I don't know that he's going to be quite the game changer that we're thinking now. Good. You get good value here. I look forward to seeing what you do with extra picks next year in the beginning. It's an exciting.
I probably am going to auto draft.
No, there would have been no flips. And I didn't count in week 7 because I think Eckler only got like a 5 and he was just coming back in or something like that.
Yeah, he's been injured for a while.
Yeah, there would have been no flips. It wouldn't have changed anything.
But he hasn't been flipping. Jordan's been on the receiving end of some pretty massive beatdowns.
Yeah, he's been the unluckiest team, that is for sure.
So it's like, yeah, of course, that's not going to help if you're getting smoked by a guy who puts up 140 points. But when it comes down to the playoffs and you need that extra 7 points, that's going to put you over the top.
It'll give him a little confidence. If he can finally start getting some close games, it will certainly be a big factor. But he's had some pretty rotten luck in the points against category this year. I don't think he's worst. I think Kara's the worst. Probably. But he's second, 33 points behind her. Yeah, Kara's got 1,109 and he's got 1,166. And then Josh is actually only 10 points behind that. So.
Well, this brings us to the second piece of news this week. We had 5 people watching at one point there. That was kind of crazy. Awesome. I guess if we want to call it the Throwback Gate, the PP Gate. Free the PP Gate.
Free the PP.
So Chuck decided to name his team after some random team way back.
It's not even a team. It was the name of the league. It was the name of the league.
I mean, I didn't know what it was. The PP.
I'll tell you the full name of the league. It was crazy. The actual full name of the first league was the Greater Oakland Professional Pigskin Prognosticators League, or GOPPPL. And I will tell you, this is how their points ran. For all of you, we need more points for the quarterback or whatever. Every touchdown, pass, rush, or reception was 25 points.
What? They score like 400 points a day.
There's 25 points. 25 points for a field goal, 10 for an extra point, and 200 for a kickoff, punt, or interception return for a touchdown.
Wow. That is quite the.
And that was the only scoring, because back then in the 60s, it would have been very hard to get all the data on yards and
yardage and stuff like that. Yeah. Interesting.
So I think we should start a movement. 25 points for a touchdown pass.
I know.
Jordan is against me too. Well, then he's my enemy. What exactly do people dislike about this? The thing that doesn't is basically you're like, you should make the adjustments now. We're like, no, going into football fantasy history and picking a team is so bad. Anybody could pick anything. But here, some random guy named Jeff had a team in 2013. Why don't you take his team? It has so much more meaning for you.
Not meaning for you. I'm just saying it has meaning for our league, at least. It's part of our league. It's part of our league history.
There wouldn't be a league if
so
there was
I will rescind what I said about the Akron triangles or whatever they were. But because I was thinking about it afterwards and, thinking hindsight is 2020. And I'm like, that was a bad comparison. That was a bad analogy, because what you're doing is almost like if it was throwback week and the Jaguars went, you know what, we're going to go and be the, Valencia Dragons or whatever from Spain.
What? That is not at all the same.
Yeah, because you're choosing a whole different league in the same type of sport and taking something from history because you have a smaller pool to get from. Now
it would be like them calling themselves whatever the name of the first league was. I don't remember what it was. The American Professional Football Association.
Because you're naming it after a league.
Yeah, so it'd be like them naming themselves the Professional Football Association, and that would be their team for that one.
Stick with old team names, preferably your own, no matter how uninteresting it is.
Sounds like we're changing the rules. Sounds like we're changing the rules. During our discussion, the rules seem to be as long as it ever represented a team ever associated with our league by any owner, it could be.
Sure. I will say I understand where you're coming from when it says, and Alex, we made a very specific, like, he is a he took over Rich's. We made a amendment to him, basically saying, yes, you can take hurricane force winds, but I understand this was forced upon you. So therefore, if you want to take one of your old names, we would allow that too. So, and I can see your frustration with the fact that you have a very low pool of names to pick from because you never change your name, but change your name, Chuck.
It's change it. It's the thing now. You can't change it at this point.
But then, I was thinking about this earlier today, and the fact is but you know what? From now on, pretty much the throwback uniforms for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be the creamsicles because they're the best ones.
They are the best ones.
So maybe that means the throwback for you is always going to be the Pony Puffins. Well, now it'll be my fantasy team because that's phenomenal. But
so we like my fantasy team at least?
I do, and I don't actually think it's a true throwback, but it at least is somewhat of a throw. I mean, it's the generic name that the league gives you when it doesn't understand what your name is.
How can you change the Polecats? I was a champion coming off it. Why would you change a championship name?
Sometimes you just gotta have some change, man.
I don't know.
I'll work it.
I don't know. I won 2 championships on ESPN with them too. Although apparently I was the Iowa Polecats then. Maybe I don't know.
But I think you're the Iowa Polecats.
The Poning PPs, the Poning Pigskin Prognosticators. Well, now that I have actually made my name, the Pigskin Prognosticators, by Josh's rule, because he said I could go back and pick other names that have been my name at any point during the year. Next year, it's fair game as a throwback. I can be like, remember that one, 24 hours? I was the Pigskin Prognosticators.
Yeah, 12 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really want to fight a loophole, I just won't fight you anymore because I'll be so exhausted from having this conversation. But
How you spell poning?
Poning, he's speaking leet, so PWN, so it's like own. Poning. Mm-hmm. Jordan asked me that the other day. He's like, what the heck does poning even mean? I'm like, it's leet speak. So it's like...
It's not really used anymore, but...
No, it was like an old gamer lingo that people
used. It came out of the fact that when people were typing and they were going to say, I'm going to own you, and they would accidentally hit the P instead of an O. And so it would say pone.
Chuck, you are such a creative person, but you keep the same name every year.
But I'm also a man of history and tradition.
Your wife really wants you to change your name too.
There is a sense of satisfaction I get when I go back in the records and see year after year poning polecats that you will never understand.
He is quite exhausting at times. I mean, it is what it is. My dad has been the New London Bulldogs for a very long time. He will be probably the New London Blue Golds, or
that's his only other option, the Blue Golds.
New London Blue Jays.
Oh, he was the Blue Jays in.
And I did find a league way back in 2005 that he was a part of in Yahoo, where he was the Euclid's Oilers. No, the Euler's Oilers. Euler's Oilers. So Euler from like math, I don't know, geometry or something like that. So he's the Euler's Oilers. So I did say that he could use that name if he wanted, but I think he'll probably just do New London Blue Jays.
See, look at the definition of pwned. It's like a dominating name.
Owned due to the proximity of the O and P keys, it's typically used to imply that someone has been controlled or compromised. For example, I was pwned in the Adobe data breach. Josh just copy pasted straight from Urban Dictionary there. Anyway, either way, my fantasy team, solid logo. Love the black and white. Love the genericness look of it.
We go with. I can be the Pony Puffins. I saw Kara went with the Durban Giraffes again. I can be the Pony Puffins.
She did switch. Nice.
Own some noobs. That is where it is most at home.
Own some noobs. So yeah. Anyways, let's move on to Throwback Week.
All right.
It is. I think everybody in except for the Bulldogs and the Nemoidian Nincompoop still have not changed their name.
Advice and going back to Star Wars Week.
He's stayed on Star Wars Week. And if history tells us anything, when he switches back to if history tells us anything, he's going to switch to his throwback, and then he'll keep his throwback for the rest of the year. So he'll become the
Milwaukee Muscox.
Fox. He'll be the Fox Point Ferrets for
Fox Point Ferrets. Honestly, the polecats were a little bit unsure about that, but all right. What do you got here? Rating the names. Yeah. Perfect segue.
Yeah,
I gotta say, it does feel good to see Hurricane Force Winds on there again. Not in first place, but it feels good to see him there.
He's talking a little too much. We'll get to pick'ems. We haven't even talked about next week yet. Yeah, it's good to see Rich back and not quite in first place.
Honestly, it's too bad we couldn't get Rich on the show and like unveil it in his honor.
Ooh, yeah.
And see
his tear rolls down his cheek.
We appreciate that. Let us know his reaction.
Yeah, just how he misses
Hurricane
us.
Force Winds carry on in spirit.
Yeah.
So we got the Miami Fire Ants, the Kentucky Creamers, the IFD Punishers, and the Durban Giraffes.
Yep. So the Durban Giraffes, IFD Punishers, and Kentucky Creamers all hail their names from 2012. It was a 2012 season. Actually, it was IFD Punishers for 2011 and 2012. 2012, though, was the Kentucky Creamers, IFD Punishers, and Durban Drafts all in the same. Actually, no, I lied. I'm sorry. Not Durban Drafts, because 2012 was Kara's first league, and she was the Jersey Devils. So
you were the Punishers for a few years, because in 2010 you were the Eau Claire Punishers.
I was the Eau Claire Punishers. I've been the Nina Punishers. I've been the Northeast Punishers. I've been the Central Wisconsin Plover Punishers. IFD Punishers, obviously, from my time in Eau Claire. Indian Head Food Service Distributors. I should have wore their hat, actually. That's a shame.
I gotta say, I like the name Kentucky Creamers. I like the alliteration. I like. Yeah. Just sounds. I don't know. I could see merchandise coming off of that.
Yeah.
Right there. But the Miami Fire Ants is pretty good too, especially since he's got some Miami guys. It's kind of fitting that he's got the.
We have been doing this for a decade, Alex. In fact, I've been doing it for 2 decades.
Well, some have been doing it for quite some time. I don't think I started until
2002 was my first year playing fantasy football, and I've done it every year since.
I think 2010 was my first year doing it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Possibly, well, maybe 2009. I think I was in the dorms still at that time.
Yeah.
But we've only been keeping good records since 2016. But you spelled creamers wrong, Alex. That's why it sounds dirty.
Yeah, it's creamers, like Krispy Kreme.
I would love it if I went to a Cracker Barrel and there was Kentucky Creamer merchandise right there.
Let's do it. I want every gift shop from a Cracker Barrel. Kentucky Creamers.
Kentucky Creamers. You know what? Maybe
EST 2012.
Maybe next year my team will be the Cracker Barrels.
Well, ooh, I like that. Cracker Barrels.
Start going on a
go the restaurant phase like me.
Restaurant phase, yeah, but any restaurants.
Yeah.
International House of Pancakes.
just the Waffle Houses. The Chick-fil-A's, the Burger Kings.
Hey, I mean that one works. The Burger King.
Yeah, that does actually make sense.
Wendy's Secret.
Logos a barrel. Yeah, Miami Fire Ants from 2002. Obviously, my fantasy team we've talked about. What's your favorite if you had to pick one?
I'd go with the Creamers.
You like the Kentucky Creamers? Honestly,
because I've played with the Hurricane Force Winds and the Durban Giraffes, I like seeing those names come back.
It does bring back some. Miami Fire Ants gives me some good vibes. I definitely remember the old Miami Fire Ants back when Donovan McNabb was my quarterback, and no one picked any Packers because they stunk. Kind of like this year. So it was those were good times.
Well, I hope we all embrace.
I will say though, I think if I'm going over the top, my fantasy team, not quite a play out, but like it's something we've been playing off of all year long because it's the way the AI, and you're helping the computer a little bit. They're probably going to reward you. I bet that you'll go, if they were to give you an A, I bet they'll give you an A+ just for your help.
They'll give me that 1 half grade boost just because of the suck up there.
I was thinking about throwback names, and I'm like, you know what? We could do throwback names because the name that you get when you first sign up for like an ESPN league is just your name. It's team and then your last name, or team and your first name. So it would be like Team Dave, Team Chuck.
Oh, okay. So I could have just been Team Chuck.
Yeah.
Team Chuck. There we go.
Team Chuck.
Well, speaking of throwbacks, and looking into the next segment, I'm hoping that the Hurricane Force Winds throw back to not scoring very high.
You hope you get a little bit of a little rich, huh?
A little rich coming back.
It's we'll start off with that one. We can start off with that one. So just to go over some pick'ems last week, I somehow got none right again.
Oh wow.
I am gonna have a record of the most 0-4 weeks with actually picking picks. I did get pwned. Josh, you didn't do much better though. You only got one right, which caused Chuck to now be tied with you. So
moving on up.
So with 4 weeks left in the regular season, Chuck and Josh are now 22 wins out of 18. Alex has 20 and 20. I'm a farther back third, or nope, Kara's a farther back third with 15. I'm fourth with 13. Todd is fifth. Jordan is sixth with 5, and Sam is holding steady with 0.
Yeah.
So it's coming down to the wire between Alex, Josh, and Chuck. I mean, obviously, there's chances for anybody to make a comeback. If I can score 0-4, so can Josh, but doubtful.
Well, in playoffs are worth double points.
So last week, pretty much you, Kara, and Alex all got 2 and 2. I got 0-4. Josh got 1 and 3.
And me and Josh continue to be very, very close on the pro pick'ems because we're the only two doing that.
I have honestly forgotten
one or two apart. I think I have 2 game lead on him now, but it's really, really close.
I have forgotten about pro pick'ems. Yeah, Alex, it is a bummer that you missed those weeks.
But you probably wouldn't have done as well. Think you're average.
Yeah, I mean, really. So, anyway, so we'll start with you and Alex.
The game of the week, I think, by any stretch. You got my fantasy team, second seed 7-3 versus Hurricane Force Winds, top seed 8-2. It's a big, big game. Top seed implications. If my fantasy team loses, it will become very hard for them to take the top seed. They would have to win out with the Hurricanes losing out, basically. To do that. The projections, however, are not too kind to the fantasy team. Honestly, I think Yahoo is fairly conservative in their projections. I've got some students at school who have a league and they're like, I was projected 150. I'm like, there ain't no way you're projected 150. But I think whatever setup they have is much more freewheeling when it comes to the projections because most teams, I think, tend to beat their projections here. But still, it's going to be hard. His team's been super firepowered up. I mean, the guy's always scoring over 130 lately. It's going to be a tough matchup, that's for sure. Hopefully it comes down to Monday night. I've got 2 players Monday night. He's got none. I guess he'll be done Sunday night. In week 4, the Hurricanes had their one game that they really slipped up on and lost 127-96. Hopefully that happens again. It's the only time he scored under 100 this year when I had him. I don't know if you really had the game of the week last week.
I think he's talking about you.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Because you technically had the game of the week last week.
That's true. I've had some big games the last couple of weeks. A rough schedule.
Although I may have said that theirs was the game of the week.
That was the upset special of the week, at least.
It was the upset. It was the last versus the first. So thought Kara would put a little bit more of a fight. But
as far as buys go, my fantasy team is without Kamara, who has kind of become one of the big hearts of my team. So that hurts, especially because the Hurricanes have nobody on bye. So full powered for them. I'm just hoping for a big turnout. I picked up Tank Dell. I decided to roll with him. I've been weak. I decided a little bit on wide receivers. Thielen, is not going to do well against Dallas, I don't think. Ever since I picked him up, he's really kind of gone down, and Dallas is not going to be his bounce back game. I could potentially, I don't know. Metcalf has not been great lately. Hopkins, the whole Tennessee team has gotten real bad now that they're using Levis or whoever is in.
Yeah, Will Levis.
Quarterback for them now. So it's just hard to trust on that one as well. Mm-hmm. So Dell's been, the Houston's been on fire, and Dell's been a big part of it. I don't think it's quite chasing at this point because he's gotten, let me see here real quick, 16 and 23 in the last two playing Arizona this week, which should be a fairly favorable matchup. I popped in Robinson. Hopefully he pays off. He's going against the Giants. That should be favorable. And then hopefully Kelsey didn't pick up anything while he was in Brazil and gets back to actually scoring. We'll see. So we will see. And Henry's been pretty reliable overall. Even though the Tennessee's been doing poorly, he's 21, 15, 17, and then 3. So my guess is he's not going to do bad ones in a row. But then you look at Alex's team, and it's just, someone's going to have to do poorly over there for him.
Yeah, that'll. I mean, I don't think Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb are going to sit there and score 80 points together again.
I mean, they got Carolina. They have another very favorable.
Yeah, but that's also the Cowboys too, and I mean, he'll probably score you 25 points. I don't think Dak Prescott's going to be they'll score 25. Although to be fair, the matchup is awful. 25th right now. He's in the red. Carolina gives the 8th fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks, and the 29th fewest fantasy points to wide receivers. So Alex, if I were you, Alex, I would consider benching both of them. I mean, why even have them in? I mean, they're in the bottom, they're in the red. Seriously.
Well, look at who Carolina's
Justin Fields is way better matchup. I mean, he's got a way better matchup, man. He's 12. So you got to put Justin Fields in. And you got to probably put Godwin in. Look at Godwin's, Godwin's in the green, man.
Carolina held Kirk Cousins to 5 points. They held Derek Carr to 8. Geno Smith to 15. Tua did get 25, and Jared Goff got 27. But recently, they haven't really been facing a who's who. They played Gardner Minshew and Tyson Bagent. They played those too late. So, yeah, I think this will be a big game to watch. Hopefully it's close. I'm going to pick my fantasy team. I'm going to pick myself.
A situation where you don't go with the matchups. I'm not really sure what your logic is here, Alex. Seriously, first of all, it's all matchups. And now it's now you don't go with the matchups. So I don't know. I was thinking you were a genius at this fantasy football, but you got me a little bit. I'm losing trust in you, buddy.
Losing trust. So I'm picking my fantasy team. Who you going? All
right. Let's see. I did pick earlier. I picked you. So part of that is Baker has not been going to Godwin. Well, I'm just saying. The matchup doesn't lie, man. The matchup doesn't lie. It's green. You got to go with the green. So this is more of hopeful. I really do think that eventually Alex has to lose. It doesn't make sense that
I am the only team that can sweep him.
With Cleveland out, with Deshaun Watson out in Cleveland, I see them struggling. I don't think that defense is going to score you another 20 points, man. Although he'll just pick up a defense off of waivers and they'll score 45. Mm-hmm. So whatever one's the greenest, got the greenest matchup.
Yep. He would have already picked up a defense by now, though.
He's got Kansas City.
Not against Philly.
Not a good green. That's pretty red. Anyway, Fields hasn't played in over a month, I think. Yeah, I know, man, but it's green.
Will,
it's a green matchup. You got to go with the green. Dude,
I will
stop.
throw this out there. I have one more stat on the Hurricane Force wins. They're currently on pace to end the season with a points against average of 100.9. And the current record that was set last year by Supreme Chancellor is 102.8. So they would be beating the average by 2 full points.
The average for what?
Points against.
Oh.
His points against are trending significantly lower than even Josh last year.
Really?
Yeah.
What about mine? Mine has got to be getting there. I feel
like you're right in there, you know.
I feel like I just drag people down with me. So it is kind of those things where people just play poorly against him like they did with Josh. So usually that's unsustainable.
So anyway, let's move on to the next one. I've got a little bit of future stuff at the end to talk about.
Sounds good. Let's go with, we just did Alex. Let's do Josh and Sam. So the Army, the Fire Ants.
Another big game for seeding. Seeding potential stuff here. We've got the third place Nincompoop 6-4, and we've got the fifth place Fire Ants at 5-5. In week 4, this is when the Nincompoops put up their highest score of the season for the league, 158, and the Fire Ants put up a 91 that game. The Fire Ants are without Taylor, Robinson, and Pittman, while the Nincompoops have nobody on bye. So another very one-sided matchup from that standpoint. However, the projections are still very heavily in Josh's favor, although they are frequently in Josh's favor when it comes to projections, it seems like.
And it's almost like he never even comes close to it. It's either he blows it out of the water or he like severely underachieves.
Yeah,
so it's really hard to tell.
I think it's gonna be a much closer game than last time. I don't think we're gonna have a 60-point spread this time. But when I did go through and look at every one-on-one there, I think the edge does go to Josh and the Fire Ants. So I'm gonna pick him.
Going with Josh.
I don't think Carlson's going to put up another huge game.
I saw the buys and I kind of went with Sam. Plus I kind of need to gain some ground on you guys anyways, so just go opposite what everybody else is picking.
I mean, part of the problem is that Josh has so many running backs that having Taylor and Robinson out doesn't really
No.
He's got enough scoring guys over there. But his team still, even, he's been using these players and they look so good on paper, and then they're just as likely to put up a 90. So I don't know. It's very hard to pick this one. Both of these teams. Sam is not a very high scoring team, and Josh is very inconsistent scoring team. So take a pick at who you're going to get. So you're going with Sam?
I went with Sam. Mainly, there's a part of it is just I got to start picking opposite to try and.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a huge.
In my point.
I don't think it's a big of an underdog pick as the projections show.
No. All right. Let's do the unnamed fantasy football team versus the Durban Giraffes. So that would be right now. No, right now the Bulldogs, but it'll probably be the Blue Golds or the Blue Jays.
Okay. Now, I don't think he set his team yet because he's still got Gibbs on the bench. He's got the Dallas defense on the bench, and he's got to start the Dallas defense against Carolina.
Yeah.
So he's got some switching out he's going to do. Meanwhile, Giraffes are projected in the hundreds. I mean, is she really rolling with Stroud over Mahomes?
She probably will end up switching out. She probably just has not really switched her. She doesn't really switch that out.
Do that yet?
No.
So we got 4 and 6 versus no, not bad. We've got.
Oh no! She put in Pacheco, so maybe she is rolling with C.J. Stroud over Mahomes. I mean,
5 and 5 versus 2 and 8. At this point, though, are they more focused on not losing the first pick to you?
She did talk about tanking. She has mentioned tanking. But she's not going to, most likely. I know she is starting to give up on Patrick Mahomes, and it's very frustrating for her to watch him basically do nothing. So
in week 4, the Bulldogs won 129-86. The Bulldogs have nobody on bye. The Fergals have Pitts and the New England defense on bye, so not a huge impact to them. The Fergals look good this week, but will they actually do it? I don't know. I'm picking the Fergals on this one now.
Yeah, me too. I did too. Actually, no, I picked my dad. Never mind. I think I got to go
Fergals every week.
I usually pick the Fergals, but I was trying to switch it up, but I think I'm going to go with Kara this time because I really do think she's going to turn it out. My dad has got a struggling team. Unless he decides to do a trade and maybe go with a little James Conner or something like that. Never know. So last one, this goes to the
Kentucky Creamers versus the IFD Punishers. Now, this is a little sketchy of a game here. At this point, it's very much in Dave's interest to just let Jordan take the win and try to move him on up towards the championship bracket here. Let's see, 4-6 versus 3-7. The records don't look far apart. No. Although these teams feel much farther apart than one win.
Well, and you have to understand, I took Eckler out. I benched him. He'll probably
Eckler right now is projected 6 more than Mixon, so that would put him up to 119, which is a really high projection. But his team's been known to really under two projections there.
Most likely he'll take out Jones just because with the questionable.
You're
going with me, Petrulis? Go ahead, man. Be my guest. I picked against me. So
Jordan's team currently has the most favored losses. He's lost 4 of the games that he's been favored to win. So he's been unlucky. If there's a game for you to bounce back and get that underdog victory, it's this one. The Cellar and the Fire.
I will say I picked up Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, that's good. I know he's one of the higher running wide receivers.
I picked up James Warren or whatever.
I think you really got to pick up Dobbs, though, man. What do you got to lose? What do you got to lose?
No, nobody. I don't have anybody to lose. But right now, I don't necessarily want to drop too many. I don't want to drop anybody right now, and so I'm waiting for the Eckler trade to go through, so I have an open spot on my roster.
Ooh, I guess that'll happen then.
So if all of a sudden Petrulis goes and gets Dobbs, whatever, I don't care.
Maybe Pierce come back a new man.
I was actually thinking not necessarily going with Dobbs, but going with
Purdy.
The guy from Washington.
Oh, Howell? He's been pretty hot. He's been pretty hot. But Dobbs has been. I don't know if Dobbs is. The thing.
Dobbs is not on fire, dude. He's a career backup who's played decently for 2 games.
Once you've had a few starts on a team, the defenses tend to figure you out. You can get this kind of flash in the pan. New guy comes in, they're not sure what they're facing.
Alex has been spending too much time with Garrett lately. Dobbs is a career backup, and he's going to always be a career backup, and it just hasn't shined through yet.
We'll see. He could parlay this season into a big contract, though. And be a rich career backup.
Little Matt Flynn, the Matt Flynn effect.
So back in week 4, the Creamers beat.
He's the passionate. Yeah, he is.
109-78. Fun fact, Dave, that game is the first in your currently 7-week-long stretch of not scoring over 100.
What is?
The last time you played Jordan, week 4, was the first of yours.
So this could be the break.
Maybe it would be poetic to end it here as well.
It would be.
Wildly uneven projection. I would love to see the Punishers win, but unless the Creamers hit the 80s for the 4th time this year, I have to pick the Creamers.
Yeah, Alex is the only one that picked me, so we'll see. Maybe Josh will pick me just to have some fun. It'd be interesting. I'd love to see myself win, but yeah, you are right in the fact that it almost would behoove me to
I mean, it wouldn't really help him get the championship, but it would improve his seeding a little.
Although if I were to beat Jordan, let's just say I somehow got into the playoffs and Jordan did not. That third round pick all of a sudden becomes very valuable. It's a low second. And then I basically would probably get 2/3 right in a row where I'd be able to just go boom, boom, and knock
in that case, it's true.
2 off right after that.
It would actually behoove you to beat him.
But so it's like I either have to have him win it all or I have to like beat him.
So that's our throwback week matchups. It looks like we should have some tasty matchups this week. I think hopefully some close coming down. I do want to talk a little bit about the playoff picture. We do obviously have the Hurricane Force Winds locked into the playoffs, but if my fantasy team wins or if you lose, then my fantasy team is locked into the playoffs at this point. If the Nincompoops win and you lose, then they are also locked into the playoffs. Can you believe that? Sam will be locked into the playoffs. We have not talked about this guy enough.
Sam, we have not. He's been flying under the radar.
Every year he's won the championship, it's been like he just kind of sneaks along, and then in the playoffs, ratchets the top.
He just rockets.
Watch out for playoff Sam, Alex. Don't rest on you. You've not seen Sam at all, really.
Yeah, you haven't seen the Brady in him where he just all of a sudden like he can stink it up all year round, and then once he's in the playoffs, he crushes you.
So I did a little look at the remaining strength of schedules for the teams, looking at our final 4 weeks here. Specifically, I was concerned about me and Alex because we were tight in that race there, and I'm like, who's got a better matchup for them? So the Hurricane Force Winds will be playing the Polecats, then the Punishers, the Creamers, and the Bulldogs to finish out the year, which is a pretty hefty lineup. I think the Bulldogs and the Creamers both could put up big points. Obviously, the Polecats can put up 125 points. And maybe the Punishers will be feeling energized after this week and try to take them down. I know you'd like to take them out. So their remaining record of who they're playing has a record of 19-21. Meanwhile, my fantasy team plays the Hurricanes and then the Creamers, the Punishers, and the Fergals to finish things off with a remaining record of 17-23. So the second most favorable, or I guess third most favorable record. I got to say, you never want to underestimate your opponents, but I do like the fact that I finish against both you and Kara.
You probably, that's going to help you out in the long run.
I'm hoping I can at least finish 2 more wins out of these 4. Meanwhile, Sam and Josh have the weakest strength of schedule left. They both have a record of 16-24 to go against. The harshest schedules left are tied with Jordan and you with the remaining schedule of 24-16.
Okay.
To play against, because I believe both of you have to play both me and Alex still, which obviously pops up the remaining schedule there a little bit.
Sure.
Just based on strength of schedule, Alex, yes, you have the harder remaining schedule because you have to play. We both play the Creamers, and we both play each other. But then my other 2 are the Fergals and the Punishers, and yours are the Bulldogs and the Punishers. So. Basically, the Bulldogs versus Fergals is the difference there. So just kind of an interesting thing to look at there. Obviously, strength of schedule doesn't mean a whole lot until you finish it. But
just a little bit of I was just looking at that Fantasy Football Hub again. Just a little bit of the power rankings has. Hurricane Force Winds, Alex at number 1, you at number 2, the Bulldogs, Todd at number 3, the Nincompoops at number 4, the Creamers at number 5, the Fire Ants, Josh at number 6, Durban Giraffes at number 7, and then me at number 8. So the power rankings are determined by points scored times 2 plus points scored times winning percentage plus the points scored times the winning percentage if played versus the median score of the week.
Oh, wow, that's quite an algorithm.
It's quite the algorithm.
So, I guess the Yahoo projection currently has Alex losing one of his final 4. I'm not sure which one that is. I wonder which one it has him currently projected to lose. Not that one. Oh, he's projected to lose to Jordan right now in week 13, I guess. That's based on current sets, so it doesn't really matter. It has me only winning one of the final 4 games. It has you not winning at all to finish out the finishing 3-11 and being passed by Kara, moving to 5-9. So I'm sure Kara would like that. That means she's winning 3 of her last 4 games. Goodness.
Yeah.
It has Sam only winning 1 more. So I don't know. I don't know if I put a lot of trust in these. He's basically saying all these top teams are going to suddenly collapse. I don't know. Except for Alex.
Right now, the Fantasy Football Hub right now gives me a 3.9% chance of winning the playoffs.
Getting into the playoffs?
Yeah, 3.9%. But it only gives me a 33% chance of getting in 7th place. It has me 62% chance of getting in 8th place.
They like
they are expecting that I will lose. The Kentucky Creamers are about 50% chance that they're going to come in 6th place. The Miami Fire Ants, they don't know what to do with them. There is basically a 20 to 30% chance that they're going to end up anywhere between 3rd and 6th place.
I don't know.
The Hurricane Force Winds technically only have a 75% chance of getting 1st place. You have a 66% chance of getting in 2nd place. Nemoidian has a 41% chance of getting in 3rd. And
so the highest chances are teams just staying where they are.
Yeah, and the Bulldogs have a 33% chance of getting in 4th, except for me. Yeah, me and Kara, it's expecting that Kara is going to come in 7th place. Although Josh is technically, he is in 5th right now, but they have him as his highest chances to get 4th place. But also the Bulldogs' highest chances to get 4th place. So out of all that, very interesting.
We'll get through week 11 here, and we'll have a little bit clearer picture.
Yeah. Do they know you're selling your team?
Yes, they do.
I don't know, man. I think obviously they think I do. They do. I'm not selling my team. I'm selling some players on my team. And you guys are going to start eating crow next year when I have like this super team. So hopefully start looking up some recipes for crow because you guys are going to be eating a lot of it.
We'll be shaking in our boots.
But
when you have no 15th or 14th round pick next year.
When I have no 15th or 14th round pick and I can pick my kicker in like the 12th.
True enough. All right. Well, let's have a great throwback week.
Yeah.
Everybody pull out your old gear this week and favorite childhood snacks.
Yeah. Drink some Surge or some Jolt.
Yeah.
Eat some of those original recipe Twinkies if you still got them in your freezer somewhere.
Have an Eggo.
Yeah, play on your Tamagotchis and
Tamagotchi. Check in on them. Get your NES out.
Start playing some Pokemon, blue or red.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good time. Anything
Good luck
else?
to everybody except for Alex.
Good luck to everybody except for, I'll say except for Alex. All right, see you guys.